Hey, how are we all doing today, guys? Welcome in. Before we get going with the actual episode, I just want to give a quick channel update change that we're going to be doing. We're going to cut down on the details of the matches and the match recaps and the spots a bit. The videos are just running a little bit longer than I would really like, so I think that's the best area to trim the fat. So unless the spot, besides the ending, I'll probably still do those and like the basics, but unless there's something that really plays into the larger storyline or has bigger implications later down the road, we'll probably save the more detailed recaps for pay-per-views and some TV main events. But without further ado, let's get into the real stuff. We're welcomed in some clips play last week of Sean McFly's encounter with the Elite. Christian Price shooting down McFly's proposition to get another title shot, and we cut back to the arena. Davis Day Direct lets us know that this match was booked prior to last week's events. Robin DeLay enters as well. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, Sean McFly defeated Robin DeLay in 12-13 by pinfall with the DeLorean driver. They go the first few minutes just trading rest holds and attempting suplexes and throws and slams. DeLay has McFly locked up at one point, but the veteran then spots a mistake and uses it to advantage to take control. Tom Townsend obviously points it out on commentary because that's kind of his job. He goes for a DeLorean driver pretty early on, but DeLay being a big guy, it takes him a while to get him up. Can't quite do it, and Robin DeLay reverses it and turns the tide in his favor. He gets a few big moves in, but it doesn't take very long for McFly to get a hot comeback, and then obviously he hits the DeLorean driver on the second attempt, gets the win. The segment rating is a 68. McFly grabs the microphone, and before he even gets 2 words out, he's jumped by the Elite. They beat him down, and every single one of them hit their finisher in a row on him, with Price getting the final blow. McFly's laying there in a heap on the floor, and Price stands over him and starts to speak. "You did this to yourself, Sean. You stuck your nose in our business last week, and now you're going to get what you wanted. You want to prove to yourself you're not a broken down old man? Fine. But if you want a title shot, it's going to be on my terms. You are going to wrestle every single time this company puts on an event. I don't care if it's a house show in the Yukon your ass is working it. Now, here's where things get interesting. I have 5 hand-picked matches lined up for you. They'll test your strength, your stamina, and your mind. If you can get through all of that, Sean, while working your little retirement, he does the little air quotes tour, you'll get your shot. Oh, but if you lose at any point, you can never challenge for the CWA World title again. We'll start next week." He kind of throws the microphone down, and he's yelling at him, your little friends, Thunder and Lightning, against Blockbuster and the Dynamite Express. Kind of walks out emphatically, after slamming the mic and screaming and right up in his face. The segment gets a 73. Christian Price enjoyed the Freedom to Go Off script. Drake Young improvised well. Angle got the crowd outer. Alright, Steve DeCold is shown in his office. He announces that after last week's chaotic ending to Championship Wrestling, Skip Bo and Aaron Knight are recovering at home. He kind of shrugs it off, though, when he adds, "We're in the wrestling business and fights happen, but you cannot put your hands on an official," and that is why I've suspended Sean Dealey indefinitely. No, he's serious because he didn't say shooter. Segment gets an 86. Steve DeColt, he's the man. Alright. In a good match, Mr. Impact defeated Dante Dunn by 14:56 by pinfall, while using the ropes for leverage. Mr. Impact makes defense number 18 of the CWA World title. Or World Television title. Excuse me. Impact's kind of flying around the ring at first. He shows off his agility. He's kind of getting the best of Dunn, but, Dunn's a big dude. He's strong. Takes him down, uses some power moves, and takes control. But eventually Impact kind of sees that he's at a disadvantage, so that's when he starts throwing in the shortcuts and, stretching the rules, trying to do stuff behind the ref's back. Dunn's power is too much, though. Even with all this underhanded tactics, he gets Impact up for a massive Alabama slam, but Impact kind of slides out, rolls Dunn up, and then puts his legs on the rope to get some leverage and gets the win. Segment gets a 68. All right. Video plays from earlier in the day showing Eric Strong confronting Cameron Vesey about his actions last week and challenging him to a match tonight. This is going to be our main event. Cameron Vesey enjoyed the freedom to go off script. 82. All right. In a decent match, the Griffin family defeated the brothers Kane in 8:08 when Robbie Griffin pinned Luke Kane with a rocket launcher. Mark Griffin carried the match in terms of in-ring performance. Kind of routine back and forth on this one. Robbie Griffin, gets worked over, gets a hot tag to Mark, runs wild, and then they hit the rocket launcher, and Robbie is the one who gets the pin. Segment gets a 65. Just kind of alright on that one, but not bad. Pretty average so far, but we haven't really had anything bad, so that's good. Ooh, that did not perform as much as or as well as I wanted it to. Sonny Wildside, David Stone, and the DeColt boys are shown backstage. They call out Double J and Johnny Bloodstone after their mugging of Wildside and Stone post-match last week. Jack issues the challenge. Next week, the four of us versus you two and whoever you can find backstage that can stand to be around you long enough for us to kick your asses. Segment gets a 65. Jack DeColt was great. Sonny Wildside sucked. That's what I'm kind of reading from these. Ooh, that did not do as well as I wanted it to either. Brooke Tyler enters for a promo, and she wastes no time calling out Lauren Easter. Her music hits, and she walks to the ring as well. Tyler says she's seen that Easter has kept bringing her up. When you said eventually we would have to cross paths again, you were right. I want my women's title back, and beating you will be the final stepping stone to getting back into contention. And Easter responds, well, we have wanting that women's title in common, but this is about so much more than that, Brooke. It's time we settle things once and for all. And how do you settle things between two women who've wrestled each other so many times that they know each other's every move? Well, you have a fight. Why don't you say we turn this month's pay-per-view into Last Woman Standing? Brooke Tyler initially looks a bit nervous, but kind of shakes it off, stands toe-to-toe with Easter, and they're mouthing off to each other as the segment ends. So yeah, they're going to have a Last Woman Standing match at the pay-per-view. Segment gets a 64. Alright, an extremely short match. Lee Rivera defeated Acid in 5:14 by pinfall with a daredevil drop. They're both just kind of hitting their high-flying classics, but at a much slower pace because they're both kind of older now. Rivera cuts Acid off after a series of running drop kicks and head scissors and ends it pretty quickly with a daredevil drop. Lee Rivera and Jenny Playman have that good chemistry. 54 on the segment. Alright. In a bout that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat, Demelza Wade, Nina Cassasi, and Laura Flame defeated Aerial Breaks, Sally Ann Christensen, and Sandra Shine in 7:22 when Laura Flame pinned Aerial Breaks with a flame fire kick. Flame and Christensen are kind of the focal point of the match. Aerial Breaks, she's getting beat down by Demelza Wade. She scores a roll up and gets a near fall, and tags or gets the near fall, but excuse me, guys, sorry. Demelza Wade tags Laura Flame back in. They kind of brawl for a bit, and Laura Flame hits that flame fire kick and ends it. Segment gets a 62. Just kind of put this one on there again because with our men and our women on this roster, but especially the women, we have our kind of four main, wrestlers and then everybody else. So I'm really trying to give, especially some of the younger workers like Aerial Breaks, Sandra Shine, especially Laura Flame, just as many reps as possible right now. So the segment ratings may not be great, but I mean, not bad by any means. But yeah, just kind of want to track how they're doing. All right. Dante Dunn storms into Steve DeColt's office and asks if he saw what happened out there in his match. Steve's I was in a meeting, I wasn't able to catch it, but I'm sure it was a fantastic matchup. It's, quite frankly, pisses off Dunn even more, obviously. And he demands a rematch with that no-good cheater, Mr. Impact. DeColt tells him he granted Dunn his wish for a title shot, and he failed. I'm not in the business of handing opportunities to losers. Now get out of my office before I suspend someone for the second time tonight. Dante Dunn doing well again. 83. All right. In a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, George Wolf defeated Omar Brown in 5:58 by pinfall with a running power slam. It's kind of a battle of strength. Both men, they kind of batter each other back and forth. But Wolf's mean streak gives him the edge, and he eventually wins with that running power slam. And the theme kind of continues of once, Omar Brown kind of comes into the save as vicious and aggressive and all that stuff, but he's had a losing streak lately. He hasn't quite had that mean streak. So we'll see how that develops. Segment gets a 62. Alright, Amber Allen's walking backstage when all three of the Queen's Court jump her from behind. They stomp on her while she's down. Then Conroy and Young hold her up long enough for Snow to hit a running knee to her face. The Queen's Court leaving the champ laid out, and they casually walk off screen. That's it. There's no words said, none of that. Yeah, Nadia Snow did good. Jessica Conroy did good. I like it. 58. Alright, now we go to our main event. Not great. Cameron Vesey defeats Eric Strong. Cameron Vesey has an answer for everything. Strong has to throw at him early on until Strong is able to hit an arm drag. Takes Vesey down, hits a drop kick to Vesey's back while he's seated there. Strong climbs the ropes and goes for a dive, but Vesey shows incredible timing and strength by catching him out of midair, repositioning him and hitting a Vesey driver 2 for what looks like is going to be the win. But Strong reaches out at the last millisecond and gets his hands on the rope. Vesey continues to throw Strong across the ring with suplexes and stiff shots. He hits a bridging German suplex that gets another near fall. Vesey's he's angry at this point. He can't keep Strong down. He's just kind of annoyed and wants to end things. So he goes to the second rope turnbuckle, which all three announcers say is pretty uncharacteristic of him. And he goes for a drop a diving knee right onto Strong's face. But Strong rolls out of the way at the last minute. He goes crazy. He's hitting dives off the ropes, dives off the turnbuckle, running moves, all that stuff. Typical high-flying baby face comeback. But Vesey turns him out with he straight up flips onto the ground with a lariat. And he hits a second Vesey driver too and gets the win. Okay, that might save us. That's a pretty good segment. Cameron Vesey celebrates in the ring for a moment when the crowd starts to roar. He turns around and realizes why they're so excited. There stands Aaron Knight. Tackles Vesey to the ground, starts wailing on him with fists and forearms to the head. Vesey rolls over onto top of him to do the same, but Knight hits almost like a monkey flip and kicks him off. They both pop up, but Knight ducks under a clothesline. Vesey tries to hit, rebounds, hits a big old spear. He taunts Vesey the whole way back to his feet and then hits a Nightfall on him. And this time, Aaron Knight celebrates to the crowd to end the show. Segment got an 88. This is just going to kind of continue. This is our two best performers right now, so we're going to keep it going. And yeah, we have quite more story to tell with their whole situation. All right. Show got 79. Again, no popularity changes. We're going to see after the second pay-per-view, we'll go in and look at some of the workers' pop and, see how they've changed it all, because I don't think we're going to start getting better ratings until we get more popularity, and we're not going to get more popularity unless we get a better broadcasting deal, and, it's just kind of this circle. So we're going to see what we can do. I don't really want to cheese the system too much, but if it stays like this, through the entire next pay-per-view cycle, we might look at changing the match focuses and stuff again, just for a while to maybe just kind of kickstart some growth, and then we'll go back to making it more, I don't want to say realistic, but more of a challenge. But yeah, it's going to wrap things up. We will see you guys next time. Yeah, thanks for tuning in.